My name is Raymond Okonkwo, and I am the only son of one of the richest men in the country, Chief Godwin Okonkwo. People think being rich means you are always happy. They think life becomes perfect when you have money, cars, and fame. But my story is different. Yes, I grew up in a mansion. I had everything: expensive clothes, bodyguards, a private jet, even a personal chef. I traveled to Dubai, London, America, all before I turned 20. But I never had what my heart was searching for. I never had real love. From when I was a teenager, girls followed me everywhere. They called me Raymond Baby and smiled like they truly loved me. But I was always careful. I noticed something about all of them. They didn't ask how I was doing. They didn't care about my thoughts or my dreams. All they talked about was, "Your car is so fine. When will you take me shopping? Your dad is a billionaire, right?" It broke me. I kept quiet for many years. I dated women who said, "I love you," but deep down I knew they didn't love me, they loved my money. The night I heard the truth. One day I was in my room. My girlfriend at that time was downstairs talking on the phone. She thought I was sleeping, but I wasn't. And that's when I heard her say something that made my chest burn. Raymond is not even my type, but he's the son of Chief Okonkwo. Once I marry him, I'm set for life. I froze. Tears dropped from my eyes. That was the third girl I had dated this year, and all three had used me for the same reason. My name, my father, and our money. I sat on my bed for hours. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. The next morning I told my father, "Papa, I want to find a woman who loves me for me. A woman who will love me even if I'm poor." He laughed hard. "You? A billionaire's son, where will you find that one?" "I will disguise myself. I'll live like a poor man." His eyes widened. "Raymond, this is not a movie. You want to act like a street boy just to find love." "Yes, Papa," I said, "because right now I feel like I don't even know what love is." Packing to leave my life behind. That same week I packed a small bag. I left behind my designer clothes, my phones, and my ATM cards. I took only a few old shirts, some slippers, and N10,000 cash. I changed my hairstyle and shaved my beard to look rough. I told my father not to contact me until I returned. Then I left Lagos. I entered a bus to a small town far away from everything I knew. No one there knew who I was. I planned to live like a normal person. No cars, no comfort, no help. I rented a small room in a Face Me, I Face You compound. It was hot, dusty, and crowded, but I didn't care. I needed to suffer like the poor, to find a woman who would love me as a nobody. The next morning I started selling oranges. I didn't tell anyone my real name. I called myself Ifeanyi. I carried a tray of oranges on my head, walked under the sun and shouted, "Sweet oranges, buy sweet oranges." My neck hurt, my shoulders burned, my legs almost gave up. People looked at me and laughed. "Fine boy like you hawking oranges? What a waste." I smiled and kept walking, because deep inside me I knew this pain might lead me to true love. But what I didn't know was that love was watching me from a small shop across the road, and her name was Amaka. I woke up that morning to the sound of shouting and water splashing. The woman in the next room was shouting at her children. One baby was crying. A man in the corner of the compound was brushing his teeth with a stick. I was no longer in the mansion. I was now in a small room with a broken ceiling, a foam mattress on the floor, and no air conditioner. The toilet outside was shared by 10 families. I had to use a bucket to bathe. This was my new life. I dressed up in one of the old shirts I brought from home. I wore a pair of slippers that had seen better days. Then I picked up my tray of oranges. They were fresh. I'd woken up early to buy them from the local market. I sliced a few to show the inside was juicy and arranged them on the tray carefully. I took a deep breath. This was it. I balanced the tray on my head and stepped out into the hot sun. "Sweet oranges, buy sweet oranges." My voice echoed through the dusty street. Some people ignored me. Others laughed. "Fine boy like you hawking. Go and look for a real job. See how he's wasting his life." Their words hurt, but I kept quiet. If only they knew who I was. If only they knew I once flew to Dubai just to eat lunch and return the same day. But I wasn't here to show off. I was here to find love, real love. A life of struggle. Selling oranges is not easy. The sun burned my skin. My neck ached from carrying the tray. My feet were sore from walking long distances. I didn't make much money that day. Just a few people bought from me. I used the little I earned to buy beans and Gary. That night, I sat outside and ate alone. The same man who insulted me earlier was now laughing with his friends. Look at that useless orange seller. Tomorrow he'll still carry tray like a woman. I wanted to tell him I could buy this whole street if I wanted to, but I didn't. I just ate my food in silence. That night, I slept on my foam bed looking up at the ceiling with holes. I thought about my father. I thought about the air-conditioned room I left behind. I thought about the soft pillows and warm showers. But most of all, I thought about the girl who helped me earlier in the day. The accident that changed everything. The next day, something terrible happened. I was walking along a busy road shouting, "Buy oranges, sweet oranges here." Suddenly, my foot hit a stone. I lost balance. My tray flew off my head. The oranges rolled everywhere, into the gutter, onto the road, under parked cars. People gathered. Instead of helping, they laughed. Ha 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 ha, look at the hawker. See his oranges in the gutter. Maybe you should go back to your village. This one can't even walk well and he wants to sell. I stood there frozen, ashamed and angry. My eyes were full of tears, but I held them in. Then I saw someone kneel beside me. She started picking the oranges. "Don't worry," she said gently. "It's okay." I looked at her face. It was her, the same girl from the day before. She wore a simple dress and carried a small black nylon. Her eyes were kind, her smile was real. She picked up the oranges carefully, even the ones in the gutter. Then she wiped them clean with her handkerchief. "Don't let them get to you," she said. "You're doing honest work, that's something to be proud of." Nobody had ever said those words to me before. She stood up, gave me back my tray and smiled. "My name is Amaka, you?" I swallowed and smiled. "Ifeni," I said quietly. I walked away that day, but my heart stayed behind, with the girl who picked up my oranges. After that day, after Amaka helped me pick up my oranges, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Her smile stayed in my mind. Her voice echoed in my head. Nobody had ever spoken to me with that kind of respect. Not even when I was surrounded by wealth. Not even when I wore suits or stepped out of luxury cars. But that day, in my slippers, sweating under the hot sun, she looked at me like I mattered. I wanted to see her again. Waiting for her smile. The next morning I cleaned my oranges and placed them on the tray. But this time I made sure to pass by the small shop where I first saw her. It was a small wooden kiosk that sold biscuits, Indomie, drinks and soaps. I stood across the road, pretending to adjust my tray just to catch a glimpse of her. And there she was, Amaka. She was sweeping the front of the shop. Her hair was tied with a scarf and she wore a faded but clean gown. Her hands moved quickly as she swept, but her face looked tired. Still, she smiled. Even with tired eyes, she smiled. When our eyes met, she raised her hand and waved. My heart beat fast. Getting closer. I continued passing by her shop every day. Sometimes she would wave. Other times she would call me, "Kaifiani, come and rest here a bit, the sun is too hot." One afternoon, she offered me a sachet of cold water. "Take. You look like you've been walking for hours." I thanked her and sat beside her for a few minutes. We talked about little things, how the weather was too hot, how sales were slow, how the compound rats were disturbing her at night. It felt natural. No pressure, no lies, no pretending. Just two strangers trying to survive in the same hard world. Her story broke me. One day I got bold and asked, "So, you work here every day?" She nodded. "Yes, since my second year in university." I looked at her confused. "You dropped out?" She looked down and smiled sadly. "Yes, my mum got sick. I had to come back home. I couldn't leave her alone and we had no money. She told me her father died when she was 12. Since then, her mother had struggled to raise her. Life had not been kind to them. Now she worked every day in that kiosk just to buy medicine for her mother and feed them both." I didn't say anything. My chest was heavy. I came from a world where I could call one person and send N10 million in seconds. But this girl had not seen N10,000 cash in months. Yet she was strong, she smiled, she helped others, she didn't complain, and she respected me, a hawker. The warning. A few days later, some girls from the street stopped her and warned her. "Amaka, why are you always talking to that orange boy? You're too fine for him. He doesn't have anything. Look at his slippers." Amaka looked them in the face and said calmly, He's not stealing, he's not begging, he's working. And that's more than I can say for some of you. That moment I knew she was different. She wasn't like those city girls who wore masks of love and eyes full of calculation. She was simple, real, pure, and I was falling for her fast. But one question burned in my heart. Can I keep hiding the truth from her? Or will it break her heart when she finds out?